Hello, everyone. This is your read aloud for day 2 of our Unit 6 quiz, multiple choice 11 to 20. So I'm going to read aloud both the instructions as well as the quiz. I was very happy to see for the folks who tried yesterday that you genuinely tried, especially there are some of you who tried a few times and you went back to check your answers and stuff like that, and that's totally fine. You can use whatever resources you need to. Just again, shh, don't snitch me out, okay? So once again, Unit 6 quiz, multiple choice 11 to 20. Dear all, as per yesterday, we will be finishing Unit 6 this week with a quiz. Today is multiple choice questions 11 to 20. Tomorrow, Thursday, is 21 to 30. Friday is constructed response or short answer. All part of the exam will be due Monday, May 4th, and just do your best. You're going to click the icon for the quiz and hit submit after filling out all the questions. A link for the read aloud is obviously coming now. I realized there was an extra file uploaded, but everything's cleared up now, so it should be fine. You can always email me if you have questions. All right, so let's get to work. All right. Multiple choice questions, Unit 6, numbers 11 to 20. Directions, read the question and choose the appropriate answer. Please remember to submit the form at the bottom after you've completed the questions. And as usual, you're going to need your Truman email address. The question asks 11. This statement is taken from the written work of John Locke, Niccolo Machiavelli, Adam Smith, or Ignatius Loyola. Think about which of those we actually discussed in this unit. And it says, I conclude then, returning to being feared and loved, that since men love at their convenience and fear at the convenience of the prince, a wise prince should found himself on what is his, not on what is someone else's. He should only contrive to avoid hatred, as was said. So essentially, they're saying it is better to be feared than to be loved. And you need to think about which of these said that. John Locke, Niccolo Machiavelli, Adam Smith, Ignatius Loyola. Number 12. This passage would most be supported by, meaning who would agree with this statement? Who would agree with it saying that it is better to be feared than loved? Enlightenment philosophers, serfs of a feudal manner, factory workers in the Industrial Revolution, or absolute monarchs like kings and queens. All right, number 13, which title best completes the partial outline? So you're going to think about what title would go in the blank up here. A, Development of the Lutheran Church. B, Writing of the Two Treatises of Government. C, Creation of the Heliocentric Theory, which just means that the Earth and stars and moon revolve around the sun. So which title would go here? And that would be Challenges to Traditional Authority, Rebellion Against the Catholic Church, Subjects in Medieval Education, Evidence to Support Absolute Monarchy. So think about which of these might be covered by one of these as a good title. This question is a little bit of a trick question because there are some here that would apply to one of them, but you want to find the one title that might apply to all of them. All right, number 14. Which of the following is a direct impact of the events in the partial outline? Again, development of the Lutheran Church, writing of the Two Treatises of Government, creation of the heliocentric theory. And the direct impact or the effect that these events had would be monarchs began to use the 12 tables to create greater stability within their nations. Governments became decentralized and individuals shared greater responsibility for the betterment of society. Society began to question the traditional social order and humankind's place in the world, or art became a greater force within cultural expression. So again, think about how, because these things are different, which of these would be an impact that they all would have had. Number 15. The religious points below are most closely associated with Martin Luther, Henry VIII, John Calvin, Pope Paul III. So Martin Luther, he was the guy that nailed the the treatises to the church. Henry VIII was the king that broke away from the Catholic Church. John Calvin spoke about human rights and natural rights, and Pope Paul III was the head of the Catholic Church. And in this case, the religious points of view allowed some divorces. They Catholic rituals and ceremonies, and the king was the head of the church. So think about which of these guys would have gone with that. 16. Which of the following resulted from the Reformation in England? The establishment of the monarch's power as the above of that pope. Immediate persecution of all Catholics in England. Persecution just means we're oppressing you, we're trying to kill you, put you in jail. The Pope's naming of Henry VIII as the defender of faith. A revolt or an uprising, a revolution, by members of the English aristocracy opposed to the Reformation. Aristocracy just means you're a noble, you're a king, you're a lord, you're a prince. Okay. Here, which speakers most closely reflect the point of view of Martin Luther? So I'm going to read to you now. Speaker A, the chief problem with the Roman Catholic Church is the practice of selling indulgences. If you remember, if you sinned and you were rich, you could buy your way back into heaven. So if I killed somebody or I stole or I cheated on my wife, I could buy an indulgence from the church and get away with it. So again, the chief problem with the Roman Catholic Church is the practice of selling indulgences. The only way for Christians to receive salvation is through faith alone. Speaker B, if Christians want to be saved, they should perform good deeds and ask for forgiveness of sins. The granting of indulgences allows Christians to be excused for their sins. Speaker C, it is true that the Bible, and not members of the clergy, is the ultimate source of religious truth. However, God has already decided who will be saved and who will not. Speaker D, since the Pope does not agree with my position, I have decided to ignore his proclamations and legitimize my own authority in England. So which speakers most closely reflect the point of view of Martin Luther? Which of these two seem like Martin Luther, the guy that nailed the treatises to the church? A and C, B and D, B and C, A and B. So just eliminate the two that you don't think are right and see if they apply to one of the answers. Number 18. How are the actions undertaken by the speakers considered significant turning points in history? So how are the actions taken by the people that were speaking here considered a major turning point or change in history? Society began to shift from a religious to a secular worldview. So they began to break away from the fact that religion was running everything to looking at more science and philosophy. Or the authority of both the Pope and Europe's monarchs increased, the Pope being the head of the Catholic Church. Various Christian sects, meaning groups, not sects, sects, groups, developed and the power of the Catholic Church declined. Church tithes increased and people had more money to spend on products and goods. The below images are associated with which time period? The Middle Ages, Pax Romana, Protestant Reformation, the Renaissance. Okay, so think about which of them over here began to have a big increase in art and culture, and you'll be able to come up with the answer. As a hint, it was one of the topics that we discussed in this unit. Which cultural shift is demonstrated in these works of art? Change from the use of Latin to the vernacular. Change in emphasis from religious to secular subjects. Change in style from medieval to ancient Greek and Roman. Change in focus from male to female figures. Okay, so basically you're just going to think about which one of these the paintings are discussing, right? So are they using Latin language? Are they talking about religious or now just more human subjects? Change in style from medieval to ancient Greek and Roman. Change in focus from male to female figures. And think about which one is correct, not necessarily which one is obvious. Okay, everyone. Good luck. Do your best. Use your resources. And if you have a question, you can email me. I'll see you tomorrow.